And speaking of a gross mischaracterization, howdy folks, I'm a chaotic chimera. Completely confusing curious creatures.
I'm Amber.
And here are more curious creatures for us to confuse, because when you have a bunch of different body parts from a bunch of different creatures, that makes you a little confusing. Let's get started. Alright folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk? I told my girlfriend that her destructive and disrespectful younger brother and sister can't come over anymore. Am I the jerk for not wanting my girlfriend's younger siblings at our house anymore because they keep damaging everything that I fix? I am a 30-year-old male, and my girlfriend, a 26-year-old female, bought our first home about 2.5 years ago. It was a total fixer-upper, but I was willing to learn and do things DIY to save money. Since then, I've poured thousands of pounds, all of my annual leave, and endless weekends into this place. Every improvement, repair, or upgrade has been me alone. My girlfriend isn't great with money and hasn't contributed financially, and she also doesn't have the skills or interest in DIY, so I don't hold that against her. The issue is that her younger brother, a 14-year-old, and sister, a 12-year-old, every single time they come over, they're incredibly disrespectful of the house. For example, her brother once took a hammer to the porch tiles and cracked 2 of them. When I asked if he would do that in his own house, he said no. I told him bluntly not to do it in mine. Her parents brushed it off with it's only a couple of tiles, but I reminded them that their landlord pays for their repairs while I'm footing the bill and losing time. I spent ages laying a sandstone patio, and her sister dragged metal chairs across it, scratching the surface, even after I told her to pick them up instead. Just last night, her sister begged to stay over, and I agreed. This morning, I woke up to a flooded bathroom because she apparently put all of her weight on the tap, bending the pipe. Now, I've got water damage under a recently laid flooring, and my entire weekend will be spent ripping it up and fixing it. When I said that I don't want them over anymore because every visit ends up costing me time, money, and stress, I got called unreasonable. But from my perspective, I'm constantly undoing the damage by the kids who don't respect the space that I've worked so hard on. So am I the jerk for putting my foot down and not wanting them at my house anymore? Edit, she's not on the deed. Replies are slow due to ripping up flooring, fixing leaks, and discovering extended water damage. I will reply, just bear with me, please. And folks, I think there are a couple of relevant comments, so we're going to read those real quick. And the Sweater Peter says, not the jerk, hammer to the tiles. When I read the title, I was thinking that it was going to be like light wear and tear, but that is malicious. No, not the jerk, and these kids shouldn't be invited indoors, let alone to your home. And OP replies, honestly, I was furious, but remained calm and spoke to him about it. I may not have been so calm when his mom and dad justified his actions, but that was directed at adults. And Concretism says, are you greatly disliked by her family? Taking a hammer to tiles and hanging off of a faucet aren't average behaviors by teens. It's so unusual. I have to either assume that they are mentally underdeveloped or purposely pushing you to cause a rift and get their sister to move home. Not having kids over is just the beginning of the conversation of, are your family members unwell and no one is willing to address it? Or are you aware that they don't like you living here and are all in on a plan to get you to move home? Not the jerk. And OP replies, her mom detests me for showing her kids a better quality of life, taking them on days out, helping my girlfriend build her confidence, etc. When me and my girlfriend met, she had no confidence, no qualifications, and her family told her that she would amount to nothing. I helped to push her through college, doing all the cooking, cleaning, every chore, etc., until she finished and got her certificates. She now has a good and stable job. Her mom resents this and attempts to put down everything that we do. I think that her brother wants out of the household as he's a smart kid who's the odd one out in his family. I'm the only one who validates him. If anything, I think that it was being destructive as a result of the life that he wants but doesn't have, which if it's true is really sad, but I can't do any more than I have done. He got into football, so I took him to play football every weekend on the condition that he screenshots his homework and shows me that it's all complete. He wasn't doing it. He got into playing pool, so I bought him a cue and I went to play with him. He likes nature, so I took him on nature walks and to nature reserves. And this is what makes it so hard. I know that they have the potential to be good kids and great people, but My influence ends when I drop them off at home. In Ubiquitous, the Wise says, charge the parents for any damage caused for starters. You would be surprised how quickly they may step in to stop this from happening if they are the ones footing the bill. Secondly, talk to your girlfriend and give her the reason for your stance. Thirdly, if your girlfriend has made zero financial contributions, then while it may be her home, it's not her house at all unless you are silly enough to put her on the deed without financial contribution. If she has contributed and is contributing to the mortgage or the upgrades and repair, then things still come under a 1 no, 2 yes agreement. In other words, you need 2 yeses for visitors and 1 no for vetoes. I'll go, not the jerk, but maybe in the future only purchase a house with a spouse or with the clear expectation about how things will be going forward. And OP replies, she's not on the deed. When it came to deposit time, I contributed 100% of it because she couldn't save. I told her as a result, given that it's my money and time, only my name goes on the house, and she agreed. Her dad, surprisingly, has just called me and told me that he has told her off and that he doesn't want her coming around anymore. My girlfriend took her home and told him the level of damage and that she couldn't afford to replace it, so again, it's falling on me. I'm just so fed up with it, to be honest, and the kids have a bit of a crappy home life, so I try to do right by them, but it's always at my expense. All right, folks, what do you think of all that?
No, OP is not the jerk. Like, it's unfortunate the kids have a bad home life, but that doesn't give them an excuse to wreck OP's place, and it's not his job to fix things.
Yeah.
It's important that the kids understand that they can't just go and destroy, like, because this is not typical kid behavior, especially at that age. Taking hammers to tiles and hanging off of a faucet are very deliberate things for children that old.
Yeah, they're what, 14 and 12?
Yeah.
And the boy is 14, I
Yep.
think? So at age 14, he should know better than to break tiles with a hammer,
And
right?
he does, like he said he wouldn't do it at home, so he very clearly does know better.
Yeah, and so like I can't imagine, like I could imagine like a 6-year-old not really understanding the, damage that they're doing by hitting a tile with a hammer, right? But a 14-year-old, I mean, come on here, right?
Well, that's it. And like even if the kids were younger, Opie would still be within their right to not want to have their house wrecked and to expect that the parents do something about it.
Yeah.
But again, these kids are very much old enough to know better.
Well, the 12-year-old and hanging off the pipe, they might not know because kids just do stupid things. Like they'll hang off of pipes and stuff like that without realizing that it can cause destruction. So I can be a little bit more like understanding for that particular thing, but
I can't. I she's too old. She's too old. I would have known better at that age. I feel like most kids would know better.
well, she might not have even. I mean, it depends on where the pipe is, right? Like I just don't know which pipe she bent and stuff like that. So I just don't know. She should have like come and gotten him as soon as the damage was done so that it could be cleaned up and that he could cut off the water and stuff like that. But she might have been really like afraid of like warning him and stuff like that or telling him because they have a bad home life, and so the mom might have gotten angry at stuff like that if she was at home and something like that happened. I mean, I'm not justifying what she's done here, but I do say like kids sometimes do dumb things without realizing it.
It's possible, but again, I feel like at 12, she should know better.
She probably should. She probably should. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Asking My Fiance to warn me before my future mother-in-law comes over so I can make myself presentable? I'm a 35-year-old female and I love my fiance, a 27-year-old male, and I want his family to like me as well. My future mother-in-law, a 51-year-old female, has high standards of how she expects people to present themselves, especially young women. His family is very wealthy and intimidatingly beautiful. I'm just a woman who grew up on a farm, and I have a thick southern accent. Well, yesterday I was doing yard work in my fiance's backyard. I wasn't worried when I heard him come, since I wasn't expecting anyone else. Obviously, I was dirty, sweaty, and smelly. I was shocked when my fiance came back with his mom. I could do nothing but smile and greet her. My mother-in-law smiled, but she looked at me like she smelled something bad. They wanted to have lunch inside, so I took the opportunity while they were washing up to shower and throw some clean clothes on. But I didn't look how I wished for lunch, as I didn't have time to do my makeup or my hair. My mother-in-law didn't say anything directly, but she said subtle things and gave looks. When my fiance and I were alone, I asked him to warn me before my future mother-in-law comes over so that I can make myself presentable. He told me that he loves me just as I am, and I said I understand that, but I also want his family to like me. He said that I'm being silly and that I'm very likable just as I am. And am I being unreasonable? It's his mom and his house. I just don't want his family to think that I'm white trash. So am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think?
No, not the jerk. It's common courtesy to let your partner know if someone is coming over. And, like even if the mom wasn't judgmental, it would still be the nice thing to do. It would be like, oh, hey, by the way, my mom's coming over. I hope that's okay. You know, um, but especially where she is very judgmental, like it's great that OP's husband loves her as she is and thinks she's beautiful no matter how she looks, but he should know his parents well enough and understand that just because he thinks OP looks great as she is doesn't mean that his parents are going to feel the same way.
Well, I think that there's a lot here. I don't really like the whole like white trash thing
Hmm.
at the very end there. I mean, I think OP is being a little judgmental at that point, but I think that OP has the right to want to present themselves however they want to, and that their fiance should respect their wishes about giving them a heads up, not just be like, "Oh, silly, you don't need to worry
Yeah.
about that," right? Like that's very like condescending, right?
Yeah, it's kind of patronizing.
And I think that he needs to respect her wishes. Just really what it boils down to. And hopefully OP and them can sit down and have a conversation about this and work this out, because this is like one of many challenges or obstacles that are going to present themselves in the relationship. And if he's already disrespecting her like this, that's not very good. And I think he wants her to be confident and comfortable and stuff like that, but that doesn't help when you don't feel confident or comfortable, right?
No, trying to force her into it isn't going to make her feel at home. It's just going to make her feel like she can't trust him.
Mm-hmm. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Date Wants Me to Pay for Half Weekend Expenses. I woke up to this text from a guy that I went out on a date with 2 weekends ago. Good morning. I hope you had a fun weekend. The total from the other weekend was $212. Your half comes to $106 minus whatever you covered at Bitter and Twisted. Go ahead and send it over on Apple Pay, or if there's a different platform that you use, let me know. This guy asked me out on Friday night, the whole day, Saturday and Sunday. He did pay for the majority of the night, but I also paid $70 at a bar plus $40 parking in downtown. He kept insisting on going to the next place each time that we finished at the place that we were at. Well, Sunday night, he invited me to watch a movie at his place and nothing happened. Midweek again, he asked me to watch a movie and sleep over. I said no to the sleepover, but yes to the movie. As we watched the movie, he kissed me and I felt uncomfortable since it seemed like he wanted to do a little extra, and I left. Granted, it was 3 a.m. Following day, he hasn't texted me and waits at least 5 more days to text me that nonsense. Never did we agree that we were splitting the bill, and it seemed like the rejection had him feeling salty about spending money on a weekend with me. Seemed like he was entitled to something more since he spent $106 on me, when I spent about the same and didn't plan on asking to split that amount because it's tacky. But am I wrong for sending myself half? Or sending my half. All right, folks, what do you think?
No, not the jerk. I mean, I think very clearly, OP and the guy each paid for portions of the date. It seems like there was no issue until OP didn't sleep with him, and now he's just salty that he didn't get to bed her, and that's not an excuse to like retroactively expect pay.
Well, that's just it, right? Like, and plus his math isn't quite right. I mean, I know he's like, well, whatever you paid on Twisted, whatever, right? Like he's saying that OP owes $106, but OP spent $110, right? So at the very most, OP would owe like 150 or $50, right? If they were paying this guy back $55, right? Because the total expense that OP and him paid combined was $322, right? So he's not even doing his math right, because he doesn't seem to understand that OP also spent some amount of money. It also seems like, according to OP, he may have even inflated the price of how much he spent. So I'm not really sure, right? But I do agree with you. This seems more like, oh, since you didn't sleep with me, I want you to pay me for our time out, right? Which is rude, right?
Yeah, like that's the thing is like when you go on a date and you pay for someone, that doesn't entitle you to their body.
Yeah. And I think like if you are expecting to be paid back, then you need to make that really clear,
Right, that
right?
needs to be agreed upon up front
Mm-hmm.
and not like wait 5 days and then be like, oh yeah, by the way.
Mm-hmm. So I think like again, the expectation was that he was paying for the stuff that he paid for, and OP was paying for the stuff that they paid for, and that they weren't going to be, charging each other in the future. But I think that if OP does have any inclination of paying this guy, then the most that they owe them is $55, right? So, um, but let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, Today I Messed Up by Asking for a Different Skin Color. Obligatory that this happened when I was 4, 2 decades ago. Marked NSFW due to racial topics, even if it was an innocent child's comment. When I was 4, according to the family, I made an error that embarrassed my parents. In the McDonald's drive-thru of my hometown, I saw this poor teenage young adult man with this beautiful dark skin. I immediately looked at my parents and I said loudly, why can't I have pretty skin like his? While pointing at the poor, flustered employee. My parents, who are pasty white people who turn into tomatoes when they're exposed to the sun. They went wide-eyed and were embarrassed by my outburst, as was the African American employee who seemed both embarrassed and amused, thankfully. Well, my parents tried to explain genetics in terms that a 4-year-old could understand, but I was apparently very upset that I couldn't have pretty brown skin like the McDonald's man. All right, folks, what do you think?
I mean, it's a funny story and hopefully everyone can get a good laugh out of it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it's nice and wholesome, and I mean, it kind of shows that kids, they don't necessarily see, racism and stuff like that, and that this is like learned behavior.
Mm-hmm.
They saw skin that was beautiful, and that's really what it boils down to. People have different attributes, and skin color is just one of those attributes, just like having different hair color or eye color or anything else, right? It doesn't change who you are fundamentally as a human being. You're still a human, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm glad that they were able to learn this lesson early on. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, it's tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she has a joke.
What might you call a private eye who gets stuck to the sidewalk?
Oh, I would call them a gumshoe.
Yep, and it's National Chewing Gum Day.
Ooh. So chew some gum, step on it, and become a detective. That's all you need to do. You don't need any special licensing, I promise. That's probably not a promise that I can make.
No.
Please don't take that as legal advice. And I have a special guest tea. All right, this is another David's tea. All right, so this one is called Lemon Cayenne Cleanse. It was, as the label says, a tart and fiery detox. I'm not sure what the whole detox thing is, but I can tell you the ingredients. So apple, white tea, lime pieces and peel, carrot, rose hip peels, lemon peel, chili peppers, sunflower blossoms, natural lemon flavoring. And honestly, the tea smells terrible. If you smell the packaging, you'll say, this tea smells awful. And I was very wary about getting a cayenne lemon tea. But honestly, after taking a few sips of it, it's not actually the worst tea I've ever had. It isn't like the best tea I've ever had. And I wouldn't even put it as like a terrible or bad tea. It does have a little bit of a sweet flavor. I think that's from the apples. But overall, it isn't even a very hot tea. It's just more or less kind of like has a little bit of heat to it. And I mean, maybe a little bit of a kind of like earthy flavor to it, I guess. So if you like earthy kind of flavored teas, this might be up for you. You might like it. You might like it. Certainly isn't a tea that I would go out of my way to buy, but I'm not going to say, it's terrible. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy, terrific Tuesday, spelled TWO. Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance, and please have it a hodgepodge for Hodgepodge Tuesday.
House guests should be a 2 yes, 1 no situation. Make sure to give an adequate heads up and don't let kids run rampant smashing tiles with hammers.
I think that works. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye!